Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to try to answer a question that sounds, well, pretty much impossible. How in the world do you count something you can't even see? We're talking about atoms, the tiny little things that make up, everything. Let's figure out how scientists crack the code.
I mean, just put yourself in the shoes of an early chemist. You know everything's made of these invisible particles, but you have absolutely no way to count them. Forget weighing them. It's kind of like trying to bake a cake, but the recipe just says, use some flour and add a few eggs. You'd have no idea what to do. This was the huge wall that chemistry had hit.
So they were pretty stuck. They could see all these cool reactions happening. Liquids changing color, gases bubbling up, but they couldn't nail down the specifics of how many atoms were doing the work. What they really needed was a bridge, something to connect their world of beakers and scales to the invisible atomic world that was really running the show.
And that brings us right to it, this massive counting problem that chemists were up against. It was a puzzle that, honestly, needed a stroke of pure genius to solve.
Now you might be thinking, this sounds super obvious, right? More stuff equals more weight. And you'd be right. But for those early chemists, actually proving it was the really tricky part. How can you show that mass is linked to the number of atoms if you can't even count the atoms to begin with? It was a total catch-22.
Okay, so this is where our main character, Amedeo Avogadro, steps onto the scene. He came up with an idea that was so simple on the surface, but so incredibly powerful it would change chemistry forever. Let's break down what he thought of.
Avogadro basically said, all right, let's do a thought experiment. Picture two containers. They are the exact same size, so they have the same volume. Now, let's also make sure they're at the same temperature and the same pressure. Everything is identical. You fill one with gas A, let's say it's oxygen, and you fill the other one with a totally different gas, gas B, maybe something like hydrogen.
And this is it. This is the big breakthrough, Avogadro's law. He figured out that if all those conditions are identical, volume, temperature, and pressure, then both of those containers have the exact same number of molecules inside them.
And that is the really brilliant part. It just didn't matter what the gas was. It could be a really light gas or a really heavy gas. The type of particle was totally irrelevant. As long as the boxes and the conditions were the same, the particle count was the same. All of a sudden, chemists had a way to compare apples to apples, even if they couldn't actually see the apples.
So, Avogadro's idea was a total game changer. But to make it truly useful, scientists needed a standard unit. They needed a number, a specific quantity that everyone in the field could agree on. And that need gave birth to one of the most important ideas in all of chemistry, the mole.
Think about it like this. You go to the bakery, you don't say, I'd like 12 donuts, you say, I'd like a dozen donuts. Dozen is just a convenient word we use for the number 12. Well, chemists needed their own dozen for talking about atoms. It just had to be for a way, way bigger number.
And that was the big question on everyone's mind. What is the perfect number? What quantity of atoms is going to be the perfect unit to finally build that bridge from the tiny atomic scale to the world of grams that we can actually measure in a lab?
And there it is, Avogadro's number. It's 6.022 with 21 zeros after it. It's a number so mind-bogglingly huge, it's hard to even wrap your head around. If you had Avogadro's number of popcorn kernels, you could cover the entire United States in a layer of popcorn that's 9 miles deep. That's the chemist's stuff.
So, to put it simply, a mole is just the name for that massive quantity. 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd of anything. Could be atoms, could be molecules, could be ions. It's the universal counting unit for all the tiny stuff in chemistry. And here is why that is so incredibly powerful. The mole is the bridge. It's the thing we've been looking for this whole time. Because of how it was defined, it turns out that 1 mole of any element has a mass in grams that's equal to its atomic mass. Just like that, boom, chemists could finally count atoms just by weighing a sample. The invisible finally became measurable.
Okay, this all sounds really neat in theory, but does it actually matter out here in the real world? Oh yeah, let's look at an example that literally saves lives every single day.
Take the airbag in your car. The instant a crash is detected, a sensor triggers a chemical reaction. This reaction produces a very, very specific amount, a specific number of moles of nitrogen gas. And because of Avogadro's law, engineers know exactly how much space that gas will take up. They know the precise volume it will fill. This lets them design an airbag that inflates in a fraction of a second to the perfect size, big enough to protect you but not so big that it hurts you. It is life-saving precision.
So here's the bottom line.
What Avogadro's did was give us the keys to the microscopic kingdom. By finally being able to count atoms and molecules, we can actually control them. We can predict what they're going to do with unbelievable accuracy, and that lets us engineer everything from new medicines to new materials to, well, to airbags.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. When you really think about it, from the computer chip in your phone to the medicines you take, almost all of our modern technology depends on this one incredible breakthrough: learning how to count the invisible. What else can you think of that would be totally impossible without it? Thanks for tuning in.